I'm like this close and 99.89% sure that never again will I do this for a pair of sneakers. It was a lot. What's up, y'all? KaShay here, and today we're talking about an interesting purchase experience that I had with GOAT. Yes, y'all, I know, before y'all go down in the comments talking about you should have known, or that's what happens when you buy from STOCKX, or save it. I'm just here to share my experience. Sometimes I have positive experiences, sometimes I do not. So I'm sharing the time I did not have a positive experience, but I do want to also talk a little bit about my recent pickup. Now that I do have the shoe that I went for, you all obviously probably already saw it, but let's get into some of those details, the nitty gritty. And then because I now have the shoe, I'm so excited to finally break them in and actually style them up. So if you didn't know, now you know. I got the Air Jordan 1 Lost and Founds. Let's get it, okay? This is my very first Chicago colorway. This pair of sneakers means so much to me already, and I've worn them once and for less than an hour. So I finally got them in hand, and I'm so excited because it took a lot to get this shoe. But before I tell y'all about the tragedy and the trauma that I went through to get these, let's talk a little bit about some of the shoe's details. Using the traditional Chicago colorway, the Lost and Founds takes us back to what feels very nostalgic and true to our favorite silhouette, the Air Jordan 1. And in this instance, the story doesn't center around a pair of sneakers that Michael Jordan actually wore during one of his games, but furthermore, a pair of sneakers that you would have likely found kind of beat up in the attic or in, an old closet or such of maybe a relative's house or maybe somebody you know, perhaps even a parent. And so as you can see, there is some intentional wear that has been constructed into the toe box of the shoe as well as the sock lining. As with most Air Jordan 1s, we get a little bit of that exposure of the fabrics used for this particular shoe right alongside the lacing structure there, which I really appreciate. And of course, we get our traditional debossed Air Jordan logo just on either distal side of the shoe. Everything on the shoe is pretty traditional. However, to complete the story, this pair of sneakers comes with a box that is wearing just as much tear as the sneakers themselves. Included in the box, of course, is also something that kind of seal the story in, which is a bill of sale, not even like a new age POS receipt, but a bill of sale from some old sneaker store in Kentucky. I mean, wouldn't you just? This is really giving a lost pair of sneakers for real, and we just found them. And I really am digging the story and just some of the fun around the creation of this particular colorway. So when I saw that this sneaker would be released, I knew I had to have it. I own no other Chicago Air Jordan 1s, and I knew this would be my opportunity to do so. But here is where the challenge came in. All right, let's get down into it. When the shoe was announced to drop on November 19, 2022, I immediately knew I had to get my life together because I knew that was a weekend where one of my sorority sisters and closest friends was getting married, and I knew that I was going to be booked and busy all day long, just ripping and running the last minute errands and stuff. I didn't have time to be trying to get a sneaker and fight bots, right? Like The Walking Dead, and just doing the most to log in and try to sit down and, go pick up your raffle. I ain't had time. I wasn't doing it, right? So what did I do? I thought, okay, since I'm gonna be busy on November 19th, and because I create content around sneakers for y'all, go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already, let me make sure that I can get this sneaker in hand. So I went over to GOAT and I purchased this sneaker early. My original purchase was on November 8th, and I'm not gonna tell y'all how much I paid for them, but do know that the price was marked up because I was purchasing early. However, I already accounted for that. I was prepared and was happy with making my purchase at the price that I did to be sure that I had a pair at least, right? Wrong. So if you're not familiar, typically the process of purchasing through GOAT means that you purchase from GOAT. GOAT will reach out to the seller who has the shoe, send them a postage label, so that the seller can then send the shoe to GOAT. GOAT can verify or authenticate the shoe themselves, make sure that you are getting, a non-fraudulent pair of sneakers, and then GOAT ships them to you. That process can usually take, in my experience, anywhere between 3 to 7 days. Now, if you want expedited shipping, there are some other options for a pay premium. However, if you didn't go with that option, you would typically have your shoes in hand within 10 days at the absolute latest, has been my experience. Typically within the app, you see some movement of either GOAT reaching out to the seller or the seller going ahead and shipping your shoes, the shoes being on the way to the GOAT warehouse for authentication, or being shipped to you within 2 to 3 days. Now, I can't remember what day the 8th of November fell on. I'm sure we can look at our calendar. It's probably somewhere on screen, but I was expecting at least within 2 to 3 days to hear about some movement in the status of my order. That didn't happen. So it was about 5 or 6 days and I hadn't seen any movement on my order. So I did take it upon myself to go ahead and reach out to GOAT, to which they promptly responded, letting me know that my sneakers had already made it to GOAT for authentication. So I was excited. I was like, perfect. In fact, because I actually purchased the shoe ahead of time, my expectation was that GOAT had some small stock of sneakers that might be waiting at the warehouse, readily available for people who wanted to purchase early that were already authenticated. Now, that can lend itself more over to the side of like the instant ship offering that, again, you pay a premium for, but I was trying my luck there. I was like, hey, maybe they have these shoes at one of their warehouses, either I believe in like Atlanta or Hong Kong or somewhere, that they'll be sending to me so I can at least get my hands on the sneakers a little earlier, if not even on the same day as the release date. I just wanted to be sure that I had a pair. So that's what made me additionally go ahead and purchase them early. But like I said, didn't see any traction on my order, reached out to them and they said, hey, your sneakers have already made it. Sorry we didn't update you in the meantime, but your sneakers made it to our warehouse. We're just checking them out and then they should be on their way to you. And sorry to bust the bubble, they weren't on their way to me yet, y'all. So the next day on November 16th, I got an email and it said that my attention was needed. And this is where it started to get a little questionable for me. So they sent me an email that read, we received your Air Jordan 1 Retro High OG Chicago Lost and Found, but our specialists noticed the following: craftsmanship, badly damaged box. Please see the attached photos. Let us know how you'd like to proceed by accessing your order number in the app. Thanks, GOAT. So they sent me these pictures and something looked a little off or a little wonky about them, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it. Now, I'm not going to hold you, okay? This sneaker, I hadn't yet seen a lot of reviews or videos that were, detailing some of the areas where there were some fraudulent attempts for passing the shoe as authentic. So I wasn't totally educated, but I definitely partnered with a couple of friends and I was like, yeah, this doesn't feel right and it didn't look right. Now, we were only about 3 or 4 days away from the release date and I noticed in the app outside of my order that the price of this sneaker was steadily rising, which is to be expected, right? But there was a little part of me that felt like, okay, I'm hoping that GOAT isn't playing me right now, right? And maybe sharing photos of what might have been like their traditionally watch out for these fraudulent attempt photos with me so that they could cancel my order and then drive the price back up and I'd have to repurchase them at a much greater price, right? But they didn't necessarily pin it on the seller. They just said, hey, we noticed some things about your shoes. So I wouldn't have been any the wiser of knowing if this shoe was coming directly from the GOAT warehouse or if it had indeed made it from the seller. Because remember, I didn't see any movement from the seller shipping my shoes over to GOAT and then GOAT doing the authentication. There was no update. GOAT just popped in and was like, actually, we have your shoes and we're authenticating them. Give us a little time and then we'll get back to you. And then the following day, I got that email. So I was bummed, super disappointed because I had done my due diligence to try to make sure that I had this sneaker early, not only for you all, but for my own personal collection, right? I thought I was, kind of doing myself a favor to make sure that I had the sneaker by purchasing it early. And y'all, that wasn't exactly the case. So do you know what I did? Go ahead and guess down in the comments. I'll give you a little time. Yes, if you guessed that I went ahead and purchased the shoe a second time, you're right. So I made a second order on the 18th, one day before the release date. I went ahead and ordered it. I paid more money, which, let me be clear and share that I did have a credit with GOAT from a recent return. So for me, it was just kind of like, let me pull the trigger to make sure that I have the shoe that I want, right? And so I made the purchase on the 18th, only for another 9 days, y'all, to go by and me not hear anything from GOAT. So when I reached out, I was like, what is going on with my order? I'm reaching out because I want to know, right? Like, I've made this purchase a second time. I'm not really feeling excited about this process and buying from this particular retailer, but also like the sneakers have come and gone. And so has that wedding, right? So while I was focused on like trying to get them there, and again, hadn't participated in any raffles and things. So, I mean, did I really want the shoe? I did, but I probably should have like participated in raffles and done that kind of thing. But it had been 9 additional days and the seller canceled my order. Y'all, when I tell y'all I was devastated a second time, and then it's starting to feel like, all right, GOAT, what y'all got going on? Because I'm using a credit with GOAT, but every time I have to go back and repurchase this sneaker, it's more expensive. So whereas somebody else, if they were purchasing it, may be purchasing using their own, money that's readily available. So that would have been an additional sell for them if the price was over the amount that my credit was. It didn't feel good. Like, I really and genuinely wanted to believe that that wasn't the case, but I also, as a customer, like buying things and actually getting them. And I know that in sneaker culture, it doesn't always happen that way, right? But that's what sucks about it. So what did I do? I was getting ready to buy them a third time. Now we're getting pretty close to the holiday season, and I'm just like, oh my God, I really want this shoe. What am I going to do? Okay, so I waited it out for a little bit, especially because I was, checking to see if the price would drop. Sometimes you see a little wave where the price goes up. It stays up for a little bit right around release date. These resellers are trying to see if they can get additional monies up off of these folk, not your girl. And then you hope that that price will drop after it's been out for a little while and the hype has kind of died down around having the sneaker. Sometimes that works, a lot of times it doesn't. But I was trying my luck, as I had done 2 times prior. I'm not even gonna tell y'all about the rest of the story because I did end up getting the sneakers, and that could be a whole separate story time. In the interest of time though, yes, I did end up getting the sneakers. So I don't really know what happened with GOAT, but the first two attempts, it wasn't looking too good for him, okay? So y'all know I always advocate for you being an educated consumer, and I hope that this story time has helped to remind you of doing so. I do have the sneaker, like I said, and I'm happy that I have it, and I'm so excited to style it with a whole bunch of stuff. I have bought a Carlton Yato bag, the Aztec print joint, it's about to go up. I have this Aware brand hat that is just hard. Like, look at that. Heavy. I'm so excited to wear my sneakers with this. Obviously, y'all know you can wear just about anything with a pair of Chicago or Bred Jordans. So I look forward to wearing camo, khakis, denim, leather, black, yellow, Kelly green. Like, there are just so many variations of colors and styles and textures that you could do with this particular shoe. And I am so looking forward to it. Like I said earlier, I've only worn the shoe for less than an hour. I went to run a quick errand on Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated's Founders Day on January 13th of this year. So I had on my lost and founds, some jeans, my Delta shirt, a leather jacket, and went out to run an errand or two and then came right back. I didn't get really a chance to like style them up and wear them in the way that I want to, but just be ready. I'm gonna let these sneakers sit. I ain't even gonna hold you for a little bit until some of the hype wears off, but obviously there's always gonna be some hype around a Chicago colorway because that's the home team, right? Like, that's it. That's what you can expect from a Jordan. So I'm super excited to have the sneaker, super bummed out that experience with GOAT could have tarnished, my relationship as a customer with them. I have bought from them since and I had a decent experience. I'm not gonna hold you, but something that I would just recommend again is that you are an educated consumer. You keep your eyes open and peeled, stay on top of, the things for which you're spending your money, especially when it comes to sneakers, because as we can see, sneakers are not inexpensive. And I know that's relative, right? But generally, especially in comparison to what they used to cost, okay, that number is marked up. So I just want y'all to have a safe purchase experience, whether it be from GOAT or any other retailer or authorized reseller of sneakers that we love, all right? So wanted to just lace y'all with that story time, because I'm gonna tell you, okay, it was about to get a little real. I didn't know who I was gonna have to pull up on to get these sneakers, but I'm glad I got them. And I hope y'all are glad too. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and tap on the like button and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace out. Ah!